Thank you for your patience. Grab a drink, sit back, and explore the paranormal with us. Welcome to the Necromancer Live Show. This stream will begin in time. Thank you for your patience. Grab a drink, sit back, and explore the paranormal with us. Welcome to the Necromancer Live Show. This stream will begin in time. Thank you for your patience. Grab a drink, sit back, and explore the paranormal with us. Welcome to the Necromancer Live Show. This stream will begin in time. Thank you for your patience. Grab a drink, sit back, and explore the paranormal with us. Welcome to the Necromancer Live Show. This stream will begin in time. Thank you for your patience. Grab a drink, sit back, and explore the paranormal with us. Welcome to the Necromancer Live Show. This stream will begin in time. Thank you for your patience. Grab a drink, sit back, and explore the paranormal with us.
As far back as I can remember, I dreamt of a normal life. A life filled with normal things. A life where monsters don't live in closets or under the bed. A life where ghosts aren't real. I just wanted to be normal. But that didn't happen. It wasn't meant to be. Since my early 20s, I have experienced profound paranormal events that would change my life. Extreme poltergeist activity, living amongst those that have departed this earth in ways unimaginable. It has affected my loved ones and children with no end in sight. I could hear things, see things, and feel things not of this world. I asked myself if this was a gift or a curse. With the help of my mother and close friends, I emerged a paranormal investigator. Since 2013, I have been on a relentless journey to learn about the paranormal. I invite you to follow me into the unknown. Welcome to the Necromancer Live Show.
Hello, and welcome to the live show. I'm your host, Justin Brown, and tonight we have no guest, no Missy. So, You get me for 2 hours. I know. It's just bear with me. That's all I can ask for you. Fine people. So how's everyone doing? How's your Wednesday been? Let me know in the chat how you've been. Please share the stream. It helps me out a lot. Let me know how you're doing. We're going to be talking about the definition of electronic voice phenomena. I asked on Facebook what your definition was of EVPs, and I got some interesting answers. There were some variations to the same definition, and some people thought, they were funny and they were trolling me a little bit. Poor Missy. Everybody give your thoughts and prayers to Missy. She's recovering from a interesting form of dental surgery. So please wrap your virtual arms around her. Do what you do. Excuse me. So when I first got into the paranormal field, the EVP was like the staple of paranormal research, right? That's what people were trying to get. It around the time in 2013-ish, I was getting into the paranormal field. It started going from the old school electronic voice phenomena, which is usually an anomalous voice that you hear on the recorder that seemingly didn't happen as the recording was going on. Okay. And there's different variations of that. Okay. And the reason why I want to address this is when you're trying to classify EVP or trying to find out what is anomalous, definitions matter. And we're going to talk about why. But to get back to how I felt where electronic voice phenomena was at the time I got into it, it was good. It was shifting heavily into ITC, which is instrumental transcommunication, spirit boxes, Echo Vox, all kinds of apps that, had word banks, noises, what have you, that were alleged to allow a medium for ghosts, spirits, entities to communicate with you on the device. And I kind of fell into that whole trap of audio pareidolia. And it was a rough battle getting out of it. And I remember, at least 3 years, 2 to 3 years into it, I was starting to realize that there was no way I could tell if these voices were manipulations or spirits speaking through the devices. I was starting to realize that psychology is a thing, and interpreting these things in certain ways through bias, through, trying to find confirmation of what I was doing, kind of like Ghost in the Machine type thing. And I thought the whole thing was interesting that people didn't realize it sooner in their research what we were doing wrong from my point of view. Holly is with us. Missy's here. Josh Bender's here. Nancy. Here. You want me to shout you out, just give me a chat. There's Becky Young there. Thanks for joining, Becky. Missy, I hope you start feeling better. I really do. I was worried that it would be pretty miserable, at least for a week. Hopefully it gets better. So, bring up Facebook share screen. We'll look through some of the definitions, because what did I want to first take a look at was what people thought EVPs were. And to get a general definition and to kind of see what the spectrum was. So if you understand what the spectrum of everybody's opinion on EVP will kind of help you understand why people believe they capture EVP. They present them, share them with us. So let's see here. Okay. Let's go to the share screen. So you see here on Facebook here, what is your definition of an EVP? Okay. And when I read these off, I appreciate everyone's feedback. I am not, calling them out, pointing them out, making fun of their answer, judging them at any way. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, because at the end of the day, pretty much all the paranormal field is opinions at the end of the day. When people, present things and they tell you what they believe, there is no solid concrete evidence of any of it being real. Okay. This is, yes, I do believe that it is real, but I have no proof. So, and here, John Ward, I love that he put this out here quick, because a lot of people believe this, and this is going to be one of my main talking points. And John is a good candidate because he is not worried about people, asking questions about his points of view. So he says, electronic voice phenomena in my eyes is a voice that comes through an electronic device, i.e. digital recorders that are captured in audio in a frequency that our ears cannot pick up on. Okay, we'll move on and go back to that. Carmen says, I now use recordings instead of EVPs, only because so many skeptics out there. I know I get some good EVPs when I hear the voice and no one was talking and got the same voice on my recorder. So she's kind of like saying, kind of like a clairaudience. And I do believe that that is a thing. And I'll explain why. Bill was trying to be funny there. Jester says, anything heard over an electronic instrument or device. It says anything. Many mistakenly use the term for audible voices heard at time. Those are termed AVP. And we'll get into the definitions of AVP, DVP, EVP2. I think those are good talking points and worth looking into. John is a great guy. I love the man. Super cool guy. Misty says, well, I'm just so tired tonight. Last night was a rough night. I bet it was. Some people just believe too damn much. You know what? Yes. But there is reasons why people believe what they believe. And I used to be pretty cynical, but not so much as I used to be, and I'll explain why if you want me to. Dory Wheeler says audio pareidolia 99% of the time. And I like that, but she doesn't give me a definition. But I like that she put that there. See here. There's a lot of people that was commenting on hers. Becky says, the voice is extremely clear, picked up when no other voices are talking. Otherwise, trash. I have recordings, but don't bother using them. Casey Colburn says, disembodied voices and sounds can sometimes be observed through the use of electronics like a digital recorder or video. Disembodied meaning the origin of the voice or sound is unknown. People can sometimes hear disembodied voices without the use of electronics, but this is classified as just that, a disembodied. Ryan, electronic voice phenomena could be a form of voice, be from a voice recorder, live video, live spirit box, walkie-talkie. I don't know if I'd count an app as true EVP, as that's programmed voices, even though on rare occasion they seem to answer intelligently. Most of the time, the apps are audio pareidolia from random phonetic sounds, like I kind of riffed on earlier. Philip Gibson says a phenomena that can be picked up on devices that record audio, such as digital and analog audio recorders, as well as on video recordings that record audio. I don't believe that they are rare phenomena, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, you can kind of follow this post. Here, let me make it public so people can follow. See if I can do that here real quick. So, if you want to check me out on Facebook, it's my personal profile, not my blog page. So you can follow this post, a comment if you're not my friend. If not, send me a friend request. There is a lot of feedback on this post. I mean, look, really good. So you kind of get the the gist of it, right? People think it's a voice that comes across a recorder. Some people believe that it's in a different audio spectrum that's out of a range of hearing. And I kind of want to address that now. If it's a voice that originates from outside of the spectrum of our human hearing, there's only certain exotic ways you could actually hear that, and we'll talk about it. I've talked about it before, but we'll go back to it. If you record something, it's definitely going to be the range of human hearing, because all audio devices, with the exception of special exotic microphones and recorders, only record the range of human hearing, which is 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz, or 20 kilohertz. So why is that? Because you can only hear in that range. So why bother recording outside the range? That is why. So if you record something, it was definitely within the range of human hearing. So not only is that statement not true, I find it interesting that people believe that when the literature for those devices and how they work are so readily accessible. They're easy to access. They're pretty simple, in my opinion, to understand. I fault Paranormal TV for giving that false impression, because I don't know how many times I've heard on shows that that's why you get voices on recorders and you don't hear them. That's just totally not true. I used to believe or subscribe to those ideas, but after researching, more and more over the years, I found out that that can't be the case. Now, the only exception to this is if your audio device is sampling at a certain bit rate, or if it's an analog recorder, if it's recording at a certain sample rate, there's this thing called digital aliasing in digital systems, that if your sound is at around 21 kilohertz and you're sampling at 11 kilohertz, which is an octave below 21, you can hear the voice on the recorder when you cannot hear it in real time with your ears. And there is a video that I love to share demonstrating this. And it could be a way that what John has said is true, but the sampling rates on the recorders aren't like, there's rare old devices that even record at 11 kilohertz. I think he was using a video camera to do it, like a 20-year-old video camera. So it is possible, from what John said is true, in certain rare exotic circumstances, but in general, it's not. But if you want me to go into the technicalities of digital aliasing, let me know, because I'll put you to sleep with it. But just take my word for it. Your average, normal voice recorder, not going to pick up anything that you cannot hear. So we can get past that. So the definition of an EVP is important, because you want people to kind of have a standardized definition of it, so as a community as a whole we can actually be looking for the same things. So some of the problems I have observed in the paranormal community as a whole is they are only using one audio source most of the time. They're setting up a recorder, and a lot of times they're taking a video recording of them doing the EVP session. Not always, but a lot. And they'll play it back in real time, or they'll play it back when they get home and review it, and they'll get something that they did not realize or didn't think should be there, but is there. And the problem with that kind of analysis is that there's no way you can account for every sound that was happening during the time of the recording, nor can you remember it, even if it was just maybe even 10, 15 seconds ago, a minute ago, an hour ago, a day ago, a week ago, or longer. Your brain isn't a supercomputer, okay? So That's why you see our team running around. We all have microphones. We all have cameras pointing at our face. We want to cross-check what our faces and mouths are doing, what sounds we are making, and we're checking that with the recording where we hear the EVP, or possible voice phenomena. And most of the time, what we're hearing is actual acoustic energy, which means that it's physical energy that's compressing the atmosphere in such a way that it produces sound. And that's the way we hear everything, mostly, is acoustic energy. And that's what audio recorders are designed to pick up, is acoustic energy. So that's probably 99.9% of what you are interpreting as an EVP is. It's not electronic, it's actually acoustic energy. But I've done the research. Electronic, in my opinion, is something that is outside of acoustic energy. It's within the electronic realm. So it could be maybe EMFs doing it. It could be some kind of manipulation of your recorder or the transducer, which is the microphone, a part of the microphone that transduces acoustic energy into an audio or a digital signal, electronic signal, right? So we have experimented with setups over the years on my team to try to see if we can find any supporting evidence if that is true. And so far, hasn't seemed like there's any supporting evidence of that being true. So if EVP is real, after almost 10 years of doing it, it's probably acoustic energy. But it's interesting. And one trip to Monroe House kind of got my brain exploded. What's up, Troy? It's going to be hard. If you're commenting and I need to go back and read, it may take me a few minutes. What's up, Darren? Let's see you there, buddy. So, a few years back, I had my mom at the Monroe House, which is in Hartford City, Indiana. And if you are a regular on the show, you've heard me tell the story many times. She is telling me that as she's walking up the stairs to this house, this entity she calls the Joker is lobbing severed heads. Yes, you heard me. Lobbing severed heads at her down the stairs. And she asked me if I hear it. The heads. I'm like, no, I don't see it. I don't hear it. You're crazy, right? Please don't say that again. But she tells me I will hear it when I play it back. Like, completely confident. Like, she knows I will hear it when I play it back. In hindsight, that tells me that she either intuitively knows or she actually knows that I'm filtering it out or I'm not choosing to hear it. So how that is, I don't know yet. But let me explain why I believe that's possible. So when we go to review it together, it's there. Plain as day. Sounds like plump, ripe tomatoes bouncing on every damn step down the damn stairs as she's saying it. She's hearing it. And I cannot unhear it. Makes no sense to me how that's possible. It's absolutely acoustic energy. It sounds natural. It sounds perfectly like it was there. But I did not hear it at all. So what does that mean? You can make an assumption that some people are hearing things that are physically in the environment that others cannot. And when it comes to clairaudience or people who can hear voices that others can't, there is things to that. And I'll tell you why I believe that. But before I do believe that we're not hearing everything that's going on. We're not seeing everything that's going on. But the recorders, thankfully, don't have brains and perceptions like humans do, or animals, so they just record whatever's there. Okay? And you get to hear it whether you heard it or not. It's interesting. It's very interesting. But people who are gifted that hear voices, see things that other people's don't, it bothered me for a while that it was a thing, because Whether I like to admit it or not, there is a lot of things that I do not sense. I do not see them. I do not hear them. And I believe that's by choice. Over the years, I have not wanted to hear or see things. And I feel like I've basically filtered that out. And since Missy and I have done what do you say? Psychical research, there we go, on clairaudience, on psychic phenomena. When she says she hears things, there are times, it's rare, but there are times that I hear it, or if I don't hear it, we get it on recording. But one time in particular, she heard it, I heard it, and the 8 recorders in the room heard it. And she was very surprised that we heard it because, like we said, she's used to us not hearing it, and she's the only one who hears it. And I find that super fascinating. I might be getting close to understanding, okay? And the reason why I feel like this particular moment is significant is I was interpreting the information coming into me in different ways at the time. I was not the block everything out, Justin. I was not the filter everything out, the skeptical, the scientific Justin. I was being a different person at the time. If you watch the footage, I was working with the energy in the room. What I refer to as psychokinetic energy, which, if you want me to, I can get into it, but I felt drawn to the corner of the room that had a bricked-in corner. I don't know why. After trying to investigate it a little bit to see if there was any way that it was hollow or there's something behind it, I kind of asked, like the thin air, essentially, is there something behind that wall? And that's where we got, I thought, a pretty clear response saying yes. And it sounded female. And Missy interpreted it as female. But that's inconclusive. That's not evidence. What's interesting is something that sounded exactly like a human voice popped out of the thin air there. And I don't have an explanation for it. Is that proof? No. Absolutely not. But it's interesting to me because I go through great lengths to try to eliminate false positives, the contamination, all of that, through the setups and methodologies that I use. So, EVP is something that needs to be standardized. It needs to be set up in a way that you can try to be sure that it is an anomalous voice or sound, because it could be footsteps. It could be other things that you're hearing that sound like things that you have heard before but didn't happen during the recording. So, what is that stuff? We don't know. We have no idea, and we probably won't ever know. I don't know. What do you guys think? What are your definitions of EVP? I mean, what do you think about what I think versus what you think? Let me know in the comments section. Holly says, Ace told me about that story of you and your mom at the Monroe house. I bet he did. I bet he did. I bet that's right up his alley. Darren says, so when you do hear footsteps or mumbled voices, what's your opinion on how it happens or what makes us hear it? I'm glad you asked. So, here are some wild ideas that I have not tested, nor is there proof for. Okay, I believe that there are parallel universes and realms and spaces in which are all around us all the time. Whether it's a completely parallel universe with copies of us or totally different people, but they're just right here next to us. But we can't physically interact with them 99.9999% of the time. But the very rare occasions that we can, I believe that's how we hear the things we hear. Like the footsteps, the echoes from the past, if you will. Now that's one idea. The mechanics behind why they pop in and out is beyond me, but there could be some very close proximities to the energy fields that contain these, or there could be some type of phasing or bandwidth to these dimensions. Now, what I mean by that analogy would be if you're trying to tune through your FM radio and you tune into a station, a couple decimal points before and after that station, you might get the same station, but it could be fuzzy. And sometimes when you're driving down the road and you got your favorite radio station on and it switches to another frequency and then switches back, that's the bandwidth I'm talking about. So I believe our consciousness is almost like an antenna. It's a receiver. So what we're getting coming in can sometimes start picking up on what else is out there. It's like you're somehow unconsciously tuning the knob of reality there. So that's what I feel is very possible when you look at the scientific literature of what we know is possible, like the many worlds theory. Look it up. It's interesting. Okay. Is it the past? Is it parallel dimensions? Or is it a paranormal entity residing in our space and time that is actually walking down the hall? I believe that is possible too, but it doesn't seem like it is. Unless people say that you heard something walk down the hall, something turned the knob to your room, opened the door, but there's nothing there. That seems like there's something there with you, right with you. What defines proof, though? Because there are always going to be people who say it's not regardless. So that's a good question. All right. So science, there is no 100% fact. Okay. The reason there isn't is because the only thing that science can do is make a prediction or answer a question and have it repeated the same answer or the same result of what you predicted over and over again by whoever does it. Okay? And as a consensus, we all agree that that's true. For example, if you're out at night and you look up in the sky and you see the moon, you ask yourself the question, is that moon really there? I can see it. If I take a telescope and look through it, I can magnify it and see it really, really well. If everybody looks up at the moon and they see it and they believe that it's there, we all agree that the moon is real. Except the people who think the moon is not real. And we're not going to get into that. You can debate these things. And I think that's why it's a good analog, because people believe that the moon is not there. It's something totally different. It's fake, or it's like an alien spaceship. Some people believe the world's flat, even though the consensus is that it's round. So that's what proof, in quotation marks, is in my view, Becky, because when you look at it from a community standpoint, most of the community in general will agree on it. And it's a tough one because there's no certainties. There's no 100% out there for us, even though we'd like to think that there. And as long as you're able to accept that and integrate that into how you think and how you view the world, I think you're fine. That's the perfect answer. Well, I'm glad that I'm perfect. I think about these things a lot, and I would love to prove something. I would love to, but we're not going to prove it 100% no matter what. And the funny thing about the paranormal is it's fleeting. When we ask a question, the answer always leads us to more questions rather than answers. And when we try to predict and replicate, it never happens, ever. So that kind of poops on our idea of trying to use science and trying to use, some type of rigid protocol or methods to objectify, something, a phenomenon. So there you go. That's where we're at. EVPs are an enigma. And I've recorded many things that I have no idea why they're there. It wasn't me. It wasn't the people with us. I put recorders outside, inside, down the hall, up her ass, in her mouth, all around. And it's only on the recordings that are only on that one device. I don't understand. Just don't. And the ones that they're all on all of the devices, I don't understand those either because they don't have a source. We don't know where those are from. So 9 years in, I still don't know. What I have found out is what isn't paranormal. And the more I go on my journey, the more I find out that all these things that people believe in aren't just, they're not true. But that's just my opinion. I can definitely be wrong. Absolutely could be wrong. And that's what's funny is my beliefs do get in the way. I believe my own skepticism can get in the way of things. I believe that since I shit on spirit boxes all the time does not mean that an entity can't speak through one. I may shit on a device that, may be manipulated by spirit all the time. We just don't know. And the reason I poo-poo on these things is we aren't doing a good enough job being grounded and making setups that would allow us to filter out or identify false positives. And we are not doing a good enough job removing our own opinions, beliefs, and biases from our research, from our interpretations of what we believe is paranormal. And until we do that, we're stuck in the Stone Age of the paranormal still. I still believe we're in the Stone Age. But what I find interesting is some people believe that EVP are psi phenomena. And I do want to talk about that. Because I believe that there is an energy field at work here. And you've heard me say it before. All matter in the universe is because there are quantum fields of energy that get excited and vibrate. And when they get vibrating to a certain extent, they create particles. Okay? So, and these particles do work on physical systems, and they make up the matter and all the forces in our universe. Okay? So, if the paranormal is real, and there's stuff out there doing stuff to our world, which it is, it may not be ghosts, but it's something, because I've seen it. Seen shit levitate, fly across the room, all that. Okay? So there has to be a corresponding quantum field that we have not yet detected. There's plenty of fields of energy out there that scientists infer that are there, but they can't detect directly that they're there. Dark energy, dark matter, all those things. I believe that there's a quantum energy field that is very fundamental. And it involves consciousness, it involves the psyche itself, our ability to know that we exist and that we identify ourselves as a single entity. Okay? And there is a dual, how should I say, a dual thing there. There is a sense that we are independent, and there is also a sense that we are one. And there's a duality there. So why is that interesting? Because all energy fields are, if you sum them all up, all come together as one, and they work as one, but they can be separated. So I feel like this energy field, this quantum energy field that gives rise to everything, even the paranormal, it could be dual. You can serve like a dual. There's a duality there. So, if our psyche survives death somehow, this energy field that it resides in can get excited enough to do things in our physical reality. It can make sounds. It could move things. It could do whatever we experience as the paranormal. And to get back to where some believe that EVP or a psi event could be possible. It could be this energy field, doing something to our physical reality to simulate sound, which I believe is crazy. What do you guys think? Hello, TJ. Hello, Eddie. What's going on? We're talking about EVP. Earlier we were talking about a lot of people have different definitions of what that is. And what do you guys think? Do you think there should be more of a standard definition to it so we can all start looking for the same thing? Or do you think that's a lost cause? Do you think that everybody should have their own interpretation of what EVP is and try to find, their own evidence? Because I'm on the fence. I'm on team standard EVP definition, to be honest. But that's just me. Some of these responses on here. I want you guys to read some of this shit. Old Kelly McConkie, she's like, EVP stands for erotic vampire porn. Demon run for life. That's what we got there, folks. Talk to me, peoples. Don't make me talk through this whole thing. That would be bad. Some of you guys don't want. What say you? Say you, peoples. It looks like we got just mostly people on Facebook. I don't know if we have anybody on YouTube. That's depressing. Is that actually happening? See here. We got one person watching on YouTube. That's probably me. Ow. We need to grow the YouTubes. We need to grow it. So what else? What else is there? Let's talk about the devices that we use to record EVP. Shall we? Go to the old website. Let me know in the chat what your favorite devices are for recording electronic. I like the standard. Why, TJ? Why do you like this? And out. Roll through here. And we won't go to that. Okay. Now, we have different variations of this recorder. Okay. We need another video of Bill Davis blowing up dolls. Word. Bill has had some interesting things. I have a Tascam DR05. That's a good recorder. We're looking at a Tascam right here, the DR40. The reason behind the additional microphone and the MagCheck 95 EMF sensor is that we are trying to test if this voice phenomena stuff is actually electronic or electromagnetic fields. Electromagnetic fields, as I say. So if we get a voice on one of our mics and we get a field or magnetic field spike at the same time, that would be good supporting evidence that there is EMF at play. But so far, no. The old tape kind. A lot of people believe that if voice phenomena is magnetic, that's why the old analog tapes work. And there's some cool ideas that I have suggested in the past about that. If you stick a blank tape in a haunted location, see if you can get an imprint, an EVP imprint on there. See if you can record something. Because the best way to find out if the spirits are imprinting your device is not to record with the microphone at all. Either put headphone or a microphone cable in and cut off the microphone itself and just leave it dead and hit record. See if you get anything. That would, if you got something, that would be good evidence that it was an imprint. But I have never been presented with any kind of evidence like that. That would be rad. Straight up, that would be rad. So yeah, that's why we do this type. We also use the little old school telephone pickups. They work really good for picking up EMF. So we use 2 of those. We'll go back up here. I know we use a Zoom H6, but very rarely for EVP research. It's overkill for that. This is our ITC setup that we've used. We would use 2 different. We'd use AM and FM on just one channel with just white noise. We'd record each channel. Then we'd record the regular stuff going on with the microphones. And then we'd put a meter there to see if we get any environmental readings, if we get anything anomalous. And I haven't used this setup in years because it just doesn't yield results. Nothing happens. You only get stuff to come out of the thing when you sweep through radio and get all the bits and random shit coming through, and then your brain interprets that into voices, and you get in trouble. So that's why we don't do that. So yeah. Now the Tascam DR05, I think that's what Troy said. Yeah, the DR05. That's a good recorder. The cheaper prosumer end recorders like the Zoom H1N, the Tascam DR05, anything that records stereo or mono and wave uncompressed format is good. You definitely want something that's not a potato. The reason why is you want good preamps, you want clean audio, you don't want low-grade sample rates and just compressed, lossless files that just can destroy the audio. It's going to introduce artifacts and noise into it that will mess up what is actually there and make it easier to misinterpret what it is you're listening to. That's why the RRDR60 is so popular, is because it is a professional at fucking up every piece of audio that you possibly record and introducing internal noise and interference that sounds like Satan. So, yeah, that's why it's bad. You want what's actually there. And you don't want to do the Vox recordings where it only records when it reaches a certain decibel. You want it to record everything. The reason why is, yeah, I hate that you like not listening to anything for 5 hours or 5 minutes, but the timing of when things happen. If you want to determine if something's answering you in an intelligent manner, you can't figure out the actual timing of when the anomalous stuff came through versus, only when it was loud enough to come through. So that's why I don't understand why people put noise gates on their portals to do that or filter out all the noise, because yeah, they're trying to get to the nice clear stuff. But what if it's something that's subtle in the white noise? You can't hear it then. Yeah, it's a conundrum there. So what I find the best thing to do is, if you're just a ghost hunter and you want to go to see if there's any electronic voice phenomena in a location, that's fine. But if you're actually investigating a location, only investigate the claims of what people, experience at the location, right? So if the location is only about shadow people and footsteps, then that's what you should be looking for. Shadow people and footsteps. There's disembodied screams. You should be trying to debunk that, because that's one of the most easily debunked phenomena there is out there. The crybaby bridges, the screams that you hear outside or in abandoned buildings or in anywhere you would find those claims are most likely outside contamination and misinterpreted from other things. Period, in my opinion. Let's see here. Everybody, I know Troy said he uses Tascam. TJ likes the analog. Josh, if you're still watching, let me know what your favorite recorder is. Darren, I know you got the Zoom H1N. Hey, that's okay, TJ. I appreciate you watching while you're at work. That's pretty that's dedication. I wonder if Cindy's still here. If Cindy, if you're still watching, let me know what recorder you like to use and let me know how you're doing because I haven't spoke to you since Gettysburg. Holly, let me know if you're still watching what you like to use. Q2N and the Tascam DR05. Q2N's video and audio. I like that. I like that camera. It's pretty good and it's pretty affordable. It is pretty good. Yeah, we were supposed to have a guest tonight, but I messaged him earlier. He said that he had things to do. He would have to do it from his phone, and then I haven't heard from him. It's what you have to deal with as a podcast host. Is sometimes people are very punctual and are very reliable, and some people just aren't. Some people don't prioritize some things like other people do. That's life, right? Vacay schedule is going around. Got any dates for events next year? I'd love to hit up Gettysburg. Yeah, it's awesome. You should definitely check it out. It looks like I'll be filming a documentary in January. All things happen. And this is going to be like a legit film that gets distributed to all platforms. If that happens, you guys are going to love it. I can't say anything more about it, but there is something big in the works that I'm going to be partnering up with someone that you all know. And if it happens, it will be really, really cool. And it will be something that I'd be proud to be part of. And it's going to be a collaborative effort with many people that I like to work with in the field. And it's something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. A real long time. And that's why I was excited about having this guest on, because it had something to do with the guest. Hi, Heath. The Zoom H1N and Tascam MK2. Good recorders. Very good. Hells yeah, I just got tickets to the Season of the Witch film in Virginia. Season of the Witch. Isn't that with Josh's ex and her sister and those other gals? Pretty sure. Pretty sure. Seen that promo on Facebook. Pretty sure I have. See if there's anything going on. Ancient extinct miracle plant may have been rediscovered in Turkey. Miracle plant. Cyclist encounters the Arnold Schwarzenegger of mountain goats. Bizarre video shows cops shooting at goblin like on Barrow. God, mystery of woodland trail camera ghost girl is finally solved. That's interesting. All right. The camera set up in a remote area of woodland in upstate New York picked up something unexpected. When the new landowners, I think this is an old article. I think I remember reading this. Yeah, that's definitely an actual girl. A goat. Decided to repurpose it as a hunting area. They first set up a trail camera to make sure that nobody else was using it. Much to their surprise, the camera had soon picked up the image of a ghostly, semi-transparent young girl in an area that should have otherwise been deserted. That's because she's moving. Concerned, they showed the image to Cambridge Police Chief George Bell. I've lived here all my life and I've never heard of a ghost running around in the woods. He said there is some creepy stuff in this town. There is to be an explanation. Keen to find the answer to the mystery, the landowners decided to release the photograph to the public to see if anyone recognized the girl or could otherwise shed some light on the mystery. While many came forward to suggest that the image was that of a ghostly apparition, the truth of the matter would finally reveal itself a few weeks later. Far from being a ghost, the girl was in fact a granddaughter of a local businessman who had been walking through the woods with her at the time. He had been completely oblivious to the whole thing until someone had showed him the image. Some people were really hoping this was a ghost story, he said. So yeah, that happens all the time. I heard Zach T. Baggins was buying all the DR40s so only he could have fake EVPs. I hope he does. I hope he buys them all and purges the fucking earth from them. Will it ever be feasible to send astronauts to Venus? UFO hunter describes childhood encounter with a lizard-like alien. My God. Is there anything going on that's not horseshit? Bizarre video shows cops shoot. Oh, I read that. Rooftop ghost spark panic. Bet it did. Video shows a shark. Now, Elon Musk unveils his new Optimus robot at Tesla's AI and has kept his arm raised for over 10 years in honor of his god. What? Okay. What? Resurface History Channel clip shows alien bedroom. Well, this right here is what my nightmares are. Footage recorded in 2006 allegedly shows an unidentified entity entering a man's bedroom in the middle of the night. You wouldn't know because it looks like it was shot with a 50-year-old potato. Right? So we had a local hairy man sighting up in my neck of the woods. That's what the old folks call Bigfoot. I'm installing cameras around my house now. Yeah, the Connor sisters. Thank you, TJ. Definitely know them. Ew. Imagine if that was a fucking alien staring at you behind the corner. There was this movie back in the day, I forget what it was called, but they had an alien peeking out behind a door frame at the camera, and it was just creepy. Oh man, if I saw that, I would just die. I would just have a heart attack. All right.
That Eckhart is asleep in his bedroom. A closed-circuit camera mounted above the bed captures the room bathed in a soft yellow light coming from an open door. Suddenly, the camera picks up something alarming. A short, skinny humanoid figure begins slowly peeking out from behind the open door.
Fuck that.
David does not stir from his sleep as little by little, the figure creeps further into the doorway, revealing a bizarrely slender leg, seemingly just a few inches in diameter, then an oblong head, and eventually its whole body. It resembles otherworldly beings commonly described as greys, and this apparently wasn't the first time David has seen one. David wouldn't be the first to report repeated visits from extraterrestrials.
It's very rare that I have found an individual that has only had one experience. Invariably, there were multiple experiences, often dating back to childhood.
Nope. No thanks. So that didn't look.
It does not stir from his sleep as
my wife included, around here there have been sightings of this thing with two long legs and just a column for a body. No head. And this does not look human at all. If this is what they think it is, it just I don't know.